Hello everybody, this is Tyler here once again from the R Games channel, doing a completely different video this time around. This guy has been on my radar for the past week or so, and seeing that I've been watching a lot of videos about people commentating on this guy and also just criticizing this guy in general, I was interested to do my own little take on this. So this is Harman Smith. For anybody who doesn't know who this guy is, he is infamously known for being a Nintendo fanboy, and not just being any type of Nintendo fanboy, one who, praises Nintendo as if they're the best thing ever, and throughout his videos, he tends to shit on all the other competition in the gaming industry, like Xbox, PlayStation, and he even has the balls to, compare PC to Nintendo consoles. And he's gotten a lot of flack for it, and rightfully so. So I'm going to be doing a reaction to one of his videos, and also just, probably near the very end, just, I guess, do a brief little rant about this guy, and how he's kind of harming the gaming community on YouTube to a certain extent, despite only having almost 1.5 thousand subscribers. But, regardless, out of all these videos that he did recently, which one I'm going to watch? I'm definitely not watching this one because it actually has an AI image on the cover, and I hate AI art with a passion. Let's watch this one. Tekken 8 failed because it was not a Nintendo exclusive. This one ought to be interesting.
Pre-order my book, American Evil, in the link below.
Oh yeah, another thing about Harman Smith that gets on a lot of people's nerves. In every video of his, and I mean every video of his, the first few seconds, he always promotes some book that he's working on or some book that he's selling, which I've heard from other people that those books are trash and are not worth reading. So, anyways, moving on.
This year has been crazy for video games. People have been trying to sell you on the narrative that Helldivers 2 is successful, or that Pokemon was going to be replaced by a knockoff property in Pow World,
Okay, so, as I brought up earlier, he tends to shit on the competition of Nintendo, let's say. He's saying these false accusations about Helldivers 2 apparently not doing very well, even though I've heard good things about it. And also, by the way, I love that freeze frame, by the way. And also, in addition to that, he has done multiple videos criticizing Pow World and claiming oh, it's a Pokemon ripoff. People are purposefully saying that this game is great and it's gonna kill Pokemon, even though in reality most people don't want to see Pokemon die or perish. They just hope that Nintendo or Game Freak steps up their game with, no pun intended, steps up their game with the Pokemon franchise and actually tries to be creative with the next entry and all that. I haven't played Power World myself personally, but I'd like to play it at some point. Unfortunately, I don't have a PC myself, so I can't really play it. And I don't have a Series X either. If anything, I'll probably be more likely to get a Series X than I will a PC, but that's a topic for a whole other day. Anyways, continue on with this video.
It's been a crazy year for games. People have been desperately, bending over backwards to try and pretend Switch isn't doing very well. And,
well, I mean, it is doing very well, but, hardware-wise, it's not the best compared to its competition, and that's facts. This isn't, anybody's opinion or anything. That's just a fact.
Even ignoring the reality that the console is well on its way to becoming the best-selling console ever made.
Well, we'll see about that. Depending on how much longer the actual Switch itself is in the market, and a lot of times whenever Nintendo does a new console, they usually stop doing production of their previous console. Like in the case of the Wii U, they ended production of that console 2 months prior to the Switch coming out. Seeing that the Switch has been on the market for 7 years, and people are just ready for Nintendo to release their next console, a part of me doesn't really see the Switch ever outselling the PS2 or the DS. But I could be wrong. Who knows? But yeah, just judging from Nintendo's previous history with their consoles, I highly doubt the Switch is gonna keep on selling like hotcakes like it was during its early stages.
They've been downplaying the success of games like Princess Peach Showtime and Unicorn Overlord, and they are just ignoring the fact that PlayStation and Xbox are on fire right now. And
how are they on fire? Well, I guess if he's talking about the layoffs that are happening at like PlayStation or the amount of studios that Xbox has shut down, I don't know. Maybe that's what he's talking about. But if he's talking about the quality of their games and products, yeah, I don't think so, boy.
Yet have had bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb. Like, I don't even have to tell.
Oh yeah, something else I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video. He claims that this stuff is happening, and yet he doesn't bring up any sources. Like, there's like this one meme. I don't know what video game it's from, but like, they say there's one character that's like, "What's your source?" And then the one guy is like, "My source is that I made it the fuck up," or something like that. I don't know. It's really funny. People use that as a meme all the time when they refer to Harman Smith, and it's very fitting.
Again, fuck Ninja Theory. Fuck everyone who's ever worked there. Fuck the gaming industry, like they deserve to get shut down. I didn't even know that Microsoft acquired them. You know why? Because I don't care. Okay,
Well, no shit, Sherlock. We know you don't care. Because you love Nintendo so much.
are they are complete trash and don't deserve to be acknowledged or respected at all. Right? So,
Dang, bros. Really going harsh on like a company you don't know much about. Like, what did they do to you? Besides not being a part of Nintendo, I guess. The worst crime against humanity.
8, looking at what they've done with that, it feels like 7 is going to be the last one they'll ever make, because what exactly does 8 add that improves over 7? Is it the roster of characters? Is it the mechanics? Is it the visuals?
I also love he's like crapping on the fact that Tekken's not really improving with their games, and yet he never acknowledges how Nintendo kind of does the same thing with some of their titles, like especially Pokemon. Just pointing this out.
Like, no. Like, the reality is 8 is like the same game we've gotten with more microtransactions, more iffy creative decisions, and people are getting tired of it. We are entering a dark age of fighting games because, newbies can't get into the genre, and pros are like gatekeeping people like pretty successfully.
Also, good job wiping your nose on camera, dude. You need to get like an editing software on whatever device you have, because you're just gonna let all that stuff slide. Nobody wants to see that.
I don't see that with Tekken 8. I don't see that with Street Fighter 6. Like, it feels like these games came and went with no real fanfare at all. We can like make fun of Power World for its like 2 weeks of relevancy all we want, but in a lot of ways,
Trust me, dude. I am pretty positive that that game had more than 2 weeks of relevancy, and even as of May 2024, that game still gets brought up by you. Hence this video that we're watching right now. It may not be relevant to most people, but it's still relevant to you because you're still salty over the fact that people are praising that game more than something like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and the fact that it's also not on a Nintendo console. So, there you go.
I think it's more telling that a lot of these major tentpole PlayStation properties, stuff like Tekken, are falling by the wayside. And it's really interesting to see where the gaming industry is right now. I'm seeing people like try and shill Neil Druckmann as an auteur, video game developer. It's not going to happen. Nobody's ever going to see him that way because nobody actually likes The Last of Us, right? Like,
Nobody actually likes The Last of Us, huh? You really think so? That smug look on your face. You really think that people are pretending to like Last of Us? That game had... Actually, no, there was 2 games, I believe, so far with Last of Us. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a TV series. It was developed by Naughty Dog, for crying out loud. The same company that did Uncharted, Jak and Daxter, the original Crash Bandicoot games. And I believe Last of Us 2, didn't it win Game of the Year in 2020? If I'm not mistaken? Like, I don't know. People like Last of Us. Well, then again, speaking of the Game Awards, you do tend to criticize the Game Awards a lot, saying that, oh, they're a joke, because Nintendo games don't win all the time in the Game Awards, so, yeah.
I'm looking at like what all these developers are doing, and I'm just like, wow, I really couldn't care less, because I know like the easiest way to screen for quality in this industry is just see if a game has a Nintendo release. Because
Yeah, because that's definitely something that people are going to care about. Like, oh, is this game on a Switch? A console that can barely even play 60 frames a second? I don't know. But the fact that this dude is, like, expecting every video game in history to be on a Nintendo console is just... Why? Like, you do know not everybody has a Switch. I know the Switch has sold more than the PS5 and the Xbox Series X because it's been on the market for 7 years. But, like, not everybody wants to play stuff on Nintendo consoles because hardware-wise, they're inferior compared to the competition, especially compared to PC. Like, I do believe most of the gaming community at this point, I don't know how many... There needs to be, like, a poll at some point about how many gamers prefer one device over another. I'll bet you anything like more than half are probably in the PC market. I'm not sure how much are in the console markets, but probably less than that. Yeah, the fact that you're... I don't know. I've rambled on too much. Time to hear more what you gotta say.
if it's releasing on Nintendo hardware, that means the developers are aware, like, believe that the game can compete with what Nintendo puts out. And what we're seeing increasingly from these non-Nintendo pushing franchises, stuff like Yakuza and stuff like that, is that they keep making excuses to not put games on Switch. And
Excuses? What kind of excuses? I am curious how you're going to elaborate on that.
do think a major reason why Tekken 8 has failed, especially in Japan, is because Harada has refused to port the game on Switch. I do think
I doubt that's the reason.
that this has completely crippled the franchise. There will be no recovery from this period. Like, they're doing...
I'm sure there will be. Like, first of all, I don't know how Tekken 8's doing. I've never played Tekken, but it's a well-known fighting video game franchise up there with Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Smash Bros. Like, I doubt it's gonna completely die. Like, there's still gonna be an audience for Tekken, even 10, 20 years later, I'm sure. Like, I highly doubt Tekken's ever gonna die. Just like how a lot of Nintendo franchises that you fantasize over are probably never gonna die.
the same thing that Square Enix did in 2002 with like all those endless like Final Fantasy like PlayStation exclusives. Like, doing that just dilutes the brand, right? You had that major success.
I love how he was about to take a drink, but he's like, nah. I got more stuff to say.
With Final Fantasy VII, and then what do? You put out Final Fantasy VIII, which was a disaster. You put out 9, you announced 10 before releasing 9, which killed the sales for 9, and 10 was
How? Like, trust me, there have been times where like video games and even like movie franchises have announced sequels prior to a release of a certain product because some companies are very, I don't know how you would put it, had high hopes for a franchise that they're just going to announce a sequel right away, I guess.
And I do think a major reason for that is because the audience for 7 are older now. The people who grew up with these games have moved on with their lives, and people don't necessarily understand the appeal of Cloud, Tifa, and Aeris, right? They don't understand what made Final Fantasy VII so special, and they never will, because in a lot of ways they have their own things to play and enjoy on Nintendo consoles. And that is like the reality.
What? Never mind. I don't even know what I was going to say there.
Of the situation, I think, is that like over time RPGs have made their home on Nintendo consoles, right?
Not necessarily. Let's look at this. Let's look at a non-typical example of an RPG. The South Park RPGs, Stick of Truth, Fractured Butthole. Those games, when they first came out, were not on Nintendo consoles, and people loved the heck out of those games. They did, of course, eventually release Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole on Switch, because, I mean, with South Park, this is South Park we're talking about, they can have that game be on the Switch with the way that game looks. You do realize that not all RPG fans are, like, foaming at the mouths over Nintendo like you are. Just saying.
The industry's attempts at trying to control, like, the JRPG industry to try and, like, make it PlayStation exclusive, like, oh, you only get RPGs on PlayStation. That entire thing, like, blew up in their face. And, like,
Okay, I love when he's criticizing. First of all, like, as per usual, he has no sources for his stuff. I don't know where he's getting this information about, like, Sony wanting JRPGs to be exclusively to PlayStation. Like, where's your proof, buddy? But also, I think it's very hypocritical that he's saying this, even though he made a video a while ago saying that third-party developers should just stop producing games for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC and just put all their time and effort into releasing stuff for the Switch. The fact that you're criticizing, well, probably made it up in your head, but the fact that you're criticizing a company for trying to monopolize a genre of games, and yet you are trying to have Nintendo monopolize the whole entire gaming industry, it's very hypocritical, Harmon.
But they won't release the games on Nintendo hardware. Like, what sense does that make? Like, again,
Well, what sense does it make? Those games are probably way too powerful to run on the Switch, and even if they were going to get Switch ports, they would be graphically and spec-wise weaker compared to its competitions. Like, I've seen videos about, I believe it was Mortal Kombat 11 on the Switch, and my god, it runs horribly on there from what I've heard. And not just with fighting games, like just a lot of third-party games in general, like even the more cartoony ones. Like I've heard, what was it, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Like that game ran pretty poorly on the Switch when it launched. I'm not sure if they fixed it since then, but yeah. Just saying, Harmon, not everything's gonna work very well on your precious little Nintendo console.
I don't think people realize just what a big shot in the foot that is. You know, putting Kazuya in Smash, you know, introducing him to a bunch of people that have never heard of him before, and then having to deal with...
Okay, first of all, like, I don't know if you're criticizing the fact that, like, Kazuya is in Smash Bros. And people are just not going to recognize him. Like, first of all, Smash Brothers has introduced me to a whole bunch of video game franchises that I probably would have never known about if I would have never played that franchise. Like, I would have never known about F-Zero. I would have never known about... I probably would have never had any interest in playing Legend of Zelda or Metroid because of Smash Bros. And a lot of other franchises going forward. Yeah, Smash Bros. Not only is a great series of fighting games, but it also kind of helps people, I guess, be more knowledgeable and, I guess, eventually get more experience in the gaming industry. Of course, the majority of the characters in Smash Bros. Are Nintendo, but Ultimate has, like, what, 20 plus third-party entries in there, and, like, yeah, it's helped get people's interest in gaming up a little bit. Maybe not as much as, like, other things, but still.
The fact that, like, oh, Tekken 8's coming out, I'm gonna go see Kazuya's game. Wait, it's not on Switch? It's not on Nintendo? Well, okay, well, I'll just wait for it to get ported then. Like, it is unthinkable for most people to have a character in Super Smash Bros. Not be available on Nintendo platforms. Like,
well, Banjo-Kazooie, first of all, I know their earlier games were on the N64, but, like, they're a Microsoft property, and yeah, they still managed to get in Smash Bros., even though, first of all, they haven't had a new game in, like, 15 years or so. And also, the fact that even if they had a new game, they most likely probably wouldn't put it on a Nintendo console. It'll probably just be on Xbox consoles and PC. And yet they still put them in Smash Bros. And the same thing with Joker from Persona 5. Like, I don't think Persona 5 was even on the Switch when he came into the game. And so on and so forth. Like, Cloud is in Smash Bros. And yet I don't think there's been a single release of Final Fantasy VII on the Switch, like, at all. So, yeah.
This attempt the industry has had in trying to, like, mitigate the impact of Nintendo and their characters has completely failed, is what we're seeing here. And I do think this is, like, we're in the end stage of that. Like, we're at the end stage of, like, Sony's, like, monopoly control over the industry. Like, they're desperately trying to cling on to it, but I do think, like, the way forward is clear. Like, I do think, for better or for worse, Nintendo is going to destroy their enemies, and they are going to conquer the console space.
Okay, first of all, if you think Nintendo is going to destroy their competition, they've got a lot of work to do in order to be more powerful than its competitors, especially the almighty PC. And plus, Nintendo has never really cared too much about how their games look. They care about the gameplay. I mean, you could argue that you could argue about that with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but regardless, that's been Nintendo's main priority, is just their gameplay. They've never really been the company to really have, like, Horizon Zero Dawn levels of graphics or anything. They just want to make fun games for people to enjoy. I mean, they may have done some things that are anti-consumer, but at the end of the day, they focus on gameplay and making sure the customers are satisfied.
And you're already seeing people cope and seethe about that, like, oh, PC will save us. Oh, cloud gaming will save us. Oh, the iPhone will save us. But, like...
Who in the right mind is thinking that, like, the iPhone is going to be the best device for gaming? Like, I'm pretty sure the one thing that PC gamers and console gamers agree is that smartphones are one of the worst devices to play most video games on.
You know, the iPhone is a object that literally everybody owns, right? Literally.
Okay, first of all, not everybody. You do realize there's other types of smartphones out there, like Samsung. What else? Samsung's the only one I can think of, but I'm sure there's others out there.
Everyone has one, right? And yet, still didn't stop the Switch. You know, like literally 100% market.
First of all, like the iPhones were never meant to be like to be the purpose of like being a gaming console. Like their main purpose is basically to be a cell phone and more. That's what iPhones are for, and smartphones in general, not just iPhones.
Market saturation. You know, everybody in your target audience has one, and yet it didn't make Nintendo consoles obsolete. You know, like, it's just not going to happen.
You think people are trying to make Nintendo consoles obsolete? I don't think there's a single person out there that's making Nintendo consoles obsolete, or at least wanting Nintendo to be obsolete. I mean, you, on the other hand, want everything else to be obsolete, but you don't hear anybody, like, saying, oh, Nintendo should perish. Nintendo should die. Like, these are people that you're making up all in your mind over here, dude. Like, these people are imaginary.
Guys, like, Nintendo already has their demographic that's separate from phones, and that group of people is going to continue to grow and expand over time. Like, the idea that, like, phones or PC is going to make, like, consoles obsolete is completely retarded.
First of all, phones are definitely not going to be making consoles obsolete. PC, despite being the most powerful option when it comes to being a gaming device, I don't think they're purposefully trying to hurt the sales of consoles. I honestly, personally, don't know if this is going to happen, and I hope it doesn't happen, but I highly doubt PC is going to be, like, a monopoly for the gaming industry. Like, I'm sure consoles are still going to have an audience. There are positives to consoles, I will say. Not as many positives as there is PC, but, like, I can understand most people who would prefer consoles over PC. They kind of prefer the novelty of it, or just being able to, like, sit back and be able to play games on a big screen TV, which I know you can also do with PC as well, but I don't know. And also, unlike with PC, you can get your games physically if you want to. I will say that. That's like probably the one thing I don't think PC gaming will ever have on consoles, at least for the past, like, several years or so, is that consoles, even though I know some of them are slowly moving away from physical media, do have physical options for their games. And as somebody who loves physical media myself, I love that. Dang, I'm starting to make this more about me and less about Harmon and his dumb points. Moving on.
You know, now you get, like, Forspoken, you get Final Fantasy 16, you get Street Fighter 6, you know, you get Baldur's Gate 3, like, you get all this crap that nobody actually plays or cares about, right?
Nobody actually plays or cares about? Nobody actually plays or cares about? Nobody actually plays or cares about? Just letting you know, buddy, Baldur's Gate 3, and you're still salty about it, won Game of the Year last year, beating Tears of the Kingdom and Mario Bros. Wonder. Yeah, there's a huge audience for that game. And all the other games you pointed out too. There are people who play them. Stop pretending like that there's people that are pretending to play them. Because there's no such thing as pretending to play a game or pretending to like a game. Unironically. So, yeah.
To me, I think I think developers will not be able to continue this facade. They will not be able to like continue tricking people into thinking that like our audience isn't on Nintendo hardware. Like it's just obviously not true. Like it's crazy.
What? Our audience is not on Nintendo hardware? What the heck are you talking about? Like, do you really think that's what companies are trying to do? Like, trying to make their stuff, like, not be on Nintendo? Let me tell you something. I'm sure some companies would love to have stuff of theirs on a Nintendo console if Nintendo actually had the good hardware to put their stuff onto to make it look almost as good as the competition. But they don't. They can't.
To justify why Yakuza does not do well on Nintendo consoles, even though that game was deliberately sent out to die, right?
And there we go. This is another thing that I was wondering when Harmon was gonna like take a sip, because as I pointed out earlier, this dude does not have an editing software apparently and can't like edit out him either taking a sip of a drink or wiping his nose or any long pauses that he does. Like, he can't do any of that apparently, and it gets on people's nerves, especially if you want to be taken seriously in this department. Like, yeah, step up your game, no pun intended.
I They can't keep doing this, right? Like I do think it's really interesting seeing the stuff that is coming out on Nintendo console. Out of nowhere we got the Metal Gear Solid games. We're getting like Sparkster next month. I'm not seeing anybody talk about that. Like we're getting like a lot of cool stuff coming out. Like a lot of these classic games, and nobody notices or cares. They just want to like keep up this like coping and seething about like, and I don't know, like whatever. But what it all comes down to is that Nintendo always wins.
And of course, he had to end the video. Sorry about that, I'm messing around with a USB drive. So he had to end the video with that comment, like, "Oh, Nintendo is gonna win. Nintendo Master Race. Ah!" Or something like that. Like, that's just how I see Harmon. Like, he's in this world where he thinks Nintendo is everything. Nintendo is his life. And anything else that's not Nintendo, well then, screw you, or something like that. That's basically what he says. Tekken 8 failed because it was not a Nintendo exclusive, and yeah, that's all I got from this video. Like, oh, if it's on a Nintendo platform, it wouldn't be much of a failure. Well, how the flip do you know? You're no experts. You're clearly not an expert. Oh man, if only the dislikes were still public on YouTube, I would love to see how many people disliked this crap. That was Harman Smith's video. Let me take a look at some comments just to see. Helldivers 2 is a success, lol. And when was Tekken 8 considered a failure? You literally just make shit up. Oh, I'm gonna give that one a like. I believe that Steam will never shut down until the day I die. Well, that's also true. I'll give that a like. Ouch, they spent a lot of money on wide appeal graphics and weird... Okay, I'm not even reading that. I don't know if this person is like defending Harmon or not. I'm just gonna skip that one. Co-parter Nintendo Switch fanboy. PlayStation Portal is the best way to play Tekken 8. I would have preferred playing the PS5 because, like, honestly, like, what's the point of the Portal? Anyway, I thought you quit YouTube. Yeah, that's true. He did make a video not too long before this saying that he was gonna quit YouTube, and apparently lied about it. Don't ever say you want people to lose their jobs. That's just awful. Yeah, I agree with that. We brought that up earlier. Tekken 8 sold 2 million copies in the first month and sold faster than 7. Interesting. The Yakuza Like a Dragon might come to Switch 2. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Like Dragon Infinite. What does Harmon got to say about that? He believes companies when... Okay. You know what? Screw it. I'm not even going to read the rest of these comments. Oh wait, hold on. One more. Nintendo Switch is a weak console. It cannot run Tekken 8, plus the game has crossplay. We don't even know what the Switch 2 specs will be. Well, there are rumors that it might have the same power as the PS4, and even then it might still not be able to run Tekken 8. So that was that Harmon video. I'm probably going to cut out some portions where I don't say anything, but I did have a lot to say, so most of it will probably stay in. But, all in all, you guys get what Harmon was saying in that 12-minute video. And he's done videos longer than this. So, yeah, that was Harman Smith. Nintendo fanboy who cannot accept people's statements about the consoles just being objectively better, and PC being objectively better. And coming from somebody myself who absolutely adores Nintendo, even to this day, like, even I, would have to agree that, like, they're just not the best hardware-wise, and, I'm fine with that. No problem with that. I'll still enjoy my inferior Nintendo stuff while everybody else enjoys, their PS5s, their Xbox Series X and S's, their PCs. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with whatever people play on, because at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. We all want to play games, regardless of what software we're playing on. If they made a console out of a tablet drawing pen, for crying out loud, like, there's people that are probably into that. You never know. So yeah, that was Harman Smith. And like I said, there's been many people that have done commentaries about this guy, including this person right here. I do apologize if I mispronounce this person's name. Justin Diams? Correct me if I'm wrong. So, this person has done... literally, like, the past, like, 5 videos that this person has done has been talking about Harman Smith, his, poor takes on things, like, of course, Pal World. Also, the whole Nintendo... getting rid of all the Nintendo-related mods on Gary's Mod, etc., etc. And actually, there was a video that this guy did several months ago where he claimed that he... It's not he, sorry, I shouldn't assume someone's gender, I'm sorry. They, there we go, where in their video they say that they hate Nintendo now because of Harmon. So, Harman Smith, if you're watching this as well, I hope you feel proud of yourself, buddy. As a Nintendo fanboy, you have convinced somebody who must have liked Nintendo to a certain extent to now despise them because of you and your poor takes and your basically white knighting Nintendo and all that stuff, making them seem like they're the superior option, like everybody else is crap. Nintendo is king. Like, thank you, Harman Smith, for making this person, and probably several other people, despise Nintendo because of you. So, I'm gonna say this honestly, Harman, and from the bottom of my heart, fuck you. Yeah, I don't think I really have much else to say about Harman Smith. I may eventually do another video at some point, talking about him depending on what other stuff he talks about. But yeah, that's basically what I had to say about Harman Smith. This guy's awful. His takes are awful. He has no sources. And seriously, dude, just stop white knighting Nintendo. You can like Nintendo without, saying that they're the best in the industry, which, is your opinion. It's not fact. Stop stating that it's fact that they're the best, because at the end of the day, it's just opinions. And like I said earlier, we all like to play games, Can't we just enjoy games without, like, trying to one-up each other? Like, come on now. It makes me sad. Like, this whole Harmon situation makes me, like, sad. That, like, there are people out there that are, like, willing to, like, try to make their love for a company or console go to this extreme. It's sad. And even sadder, convincing people like Justin here. Justin, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, dude. Convincing people like this that Nintendo sucks. I don't know. It's sad. This whole situation is sad. And will Harman Smith ever change? Hell no. It's been proven multiple times he hasn't. And I'm just curious to see what other tomfoolery this guy's going to get into at some point in the future. And I may or may not do another video on him. Depending on how this video does, we'll see. After that long tangent, that's about it for this video. Hope you guys stuck around to the end, and hopefully at least got something out of it, and got some enjoyment out of it, because that's what I'm here to do. Seeing that my channel has kind of rebranded as a gaming channel, with some occasional non-gaming stuff, this guy was on my radar, and I'm like, I gotta talk about this guy, because holy shit. Anyways, stay tuned for more stuff to come on this channel. I should have put, like, a viewer discretion as a device thing at the beginning, because of whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm done with Harman Smith for today. Until next time. Anyways, this is Tyler from the Air Games channel, signing out.